The Landmark Trust is a charity that rescues historic buildings at risk and turns them into amazing places for holidays. To mark 60 years since Landmark was founded, National Life Stories, the charitable trust that supports and sustains oral history at the British Library, have captured our story through in-depth audio biographies with 6 of our long-standing members of staff. Those interviews will be archived for posterity and made available at the British Library. But we've also turned some highlights into podcasts for a behind-the-scenes glimpse of life at Landmark.
It's an extraordinary thing that the Landmark Trust is now celebrating its 60th birthday, and a wonderful thing, an inspiring thing. I think it would surprise the founders.
In 1965, John and Christian Smith founded the Landmark Trust to give new life to old buildings by restoring them and then securing their futures by letting them for holidays.
Well, I suppose the reason that Landmark is here 60 years on is because of John Smith. But if you put that on one side, I think we have a formula which is extremely successful. And I am extremely proud to have been part of that.
Landmark has not so much changed as evolved, I think, over the years.
In the 1990s, Sir John took a step back, and that meant that the funding from the Manifold Trust was sort of gradually taken away, so Landmark had to stand on its own 2 feet and start fundraising and raising money for the new projects that we wanted to rescue and save.
I just admire the revenue that's gathered from the holiday lets always goes back into saving the next building. I started working for Landmark in the year 2000, so this year represents 25 years with Landmark.
Working for Landmark is something that gets completely under your skin, and I have a feeling it's the same for those who stay in our buildings as well.
When I used to go and see John Smith in Dean's Yard, he would always say to me, "Are you having fun?" He thought that absolutely everything should be fun. If you were having fun, you were doing a good job.
People come to Lundy to visit the island and to enjoy the fantastic wildlife that we've got in and around the island. The pub never shuts. We just pull the shutter down at 11 o'clock and you can stay in there all night if you want, quite happily.
One of the first things that I did as part of the fundraising team was to arrange a picnic on site during restoration. The contractors very kindly stopped work at lunchtime, so there was no noise, and we had 25, 30 guests sitting around an enormous table, white linen tablecloth, starter, main and dessert in hard hats. The poor caterer was boiling potatoes in the woods on a camping stove, but we did it.
Like at the villa, I had 17 people working for me when we were finishing the villa. And I would go down into town and I would buy all this food and this wine and this everything. And I took on a chef, and it was just an extraordinary time.
A stay in a landmark is not meant to be just a holiday. It's meant to be an experience of a mildly elevating kind. I love that phrase. It was a wonderful manifesto for a certain way of life, expressed through the way in which these buildings are restored, looked after, repaired, and then the experience that people staying in them have, becoming part of a community.
The tea tray is always laid out with tea and sugar, milk jug, teapot, and a nice little vase of flowers and a nice little welcoming note.
I love the way when you walk into a landmark, you have a sense of instantly being at home. It's as though a stage has been set for you to come and spend a few days and hours of your own life in this beautiful place.
One stay in a landmark will make you want to come back time and time again, whether it's on the mainland or on Lundy.
It's been a very big part of my life, sort of working for 41 years for the organisation, seen it grow, and God. Didn't know this was going to happen, sorry. Landmark has meant, a huge amount to me. Joining when I was relatively young, and I suppose being able to move around within the organisation. Some wonderful, wonderful colleagues, some great supporters, and landmarkers that I've met and I got to know, whether it was over the phone or actually in person. So it's been a huge, huge part of my life.
We just had fun.